Okay, so we're here this morning chatting with Jesse Stolow of Total Window, and it's interesting because in our last segment you mentioned that, relationship has always been the foundation of your business development, and it's interesting what relationship can do. We share similar enthusiasm for relationship building. And through relationship building, we also got involved in supporting a community health center of South Florida, which coincidentally today, November 19th, we've launched a campaign in Give Miami Day, and we've launched a campaign to promote the giving to the towards the funding of a um, building of a children crisis center in South Day, which is highly needed. And nowadays especially with all these complex times that we're living, um, uh, mental health crisis is one of the biggest concerns that a lot of people are experiencing, and this will be hopefully part of the solution. So
Very
um,
cool.
I thank you for joining us today. But
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit more about the role of relationship in business development. I know you from some time that not only you participate in different um, relationship networking groups, but so what do you look for in the building of a relationship? What is your approach towards building a relationship?
Well, it starts with time. It starts with recognizing that it's an investment of time, and I've taken bits and pieces from all of these different learning experiences, and it's very true. One of the tenets of our networking groups that we've been affiliated with is that people don't do business with you unless they trust you. But if you have to work backwards from that. So you're not going to get to the trust stage unless somebody likes you or relates to you in some way. And you're not going to get to the liking stage unless somebody knows you. So when you start to build a relationship, you have to recognize that you have to go through these phases of building that relationship to get to trust. Trust is something in any relationship, particularly a business relationship, that is it doesn't come automatically. You have to earn it over time.
Mhm.
And the other part of that is recognizing that the trust has to be. He's very talkative this morning.
No,
Very
that's
excited.
fine. He has an opinion of his own.
He does have an opinion. He's got lots of them. Part of that trust is showing that you are vulnerable, showing that you're a human being as well. When we build trust, when we build relationships with our customers, and I'm having a first meeting with an interior designer, I look at them and I say, look, I will be the first person to tell you two things. If you have a relationship with a current provider that you're happy with, stay with that person. Don't switch because I'm going to make some grand promise, for two reasons. One is your definition of satisfaction that you have is already established with that other person. I will have to learn your language, right, of satisfaction. And so that for you is going to be a frustrating thing. And I don't want to put myself or yourself in that position of being frustrated until we grow together. If you are unhappy with something that your current provider is doing, allow me to fill that one gap and I'll earn the rest of the business, right? And the other thing that I say is that we make mistakes, right? There are problems that come up when you're doing the work that we do. That happens in any business, more so in a business like mine, which is very custom work. I mean, what we're doing is, if you've ever gotten a pair of pants or a custom suit made, tailored, there are dimensions that are taken. The tailor goes back and cuts the material. Then you have to go back for a fitting, right? There's stages of this. And sometimes, maybe you put on an extra pound or two before they finished hemming the thing. And so he's got to make another adjustment. And so that's what we're doing for windows, right? That's what we're doing in a home. And so custom work is inevitably variable. And so I say, yeah, there are things that happen and issues that arise, but we know this, and we know that when they come up, we will just deal with it, right? And that's something that showing your vulnerability and recognizing that that you're all a human being goes a long way to building that trust.
That's an interesting. I picked up obviously, and you just rephrased the vulnerability. I think that that is a foundation of proper relationship building, when you actually show and put yourself out there and you show your vulnerability, because we don't know it all. I often talk to many customers, and I say, I can't promise you a perfect world. I can't promise you everything that is never going to be a problem. If you ever get anybody to promise you that, I would be very leery of that, because that perfection doesn't exist. But what I can promise you is our commitment, dedication to resolve and jump on those problems and address them properly. And many times, obviously, that shows to some people that could be showing a vulnerable side, or that you're in a way lowering yourself. But actually, I think it's very open. And I think people react and respond in a positive way when you truly open. I'm a big believer that what is meant to happen will happen, which means that I just put myself out there, and we try to, as a company, um, uh, take that approach of being open, vulnerable, humble, and then the right relationship and trust is built through time, through the evidence of how our actions are. But
a big part of that also, though, comes from recognizing your own confidence level. And for the longest time at Total Window, we couldn't find that balance of being assertive and being confident in our abilities. And we always felt like we were sort of the butt end of everybody else's problems. And we would always sort of get all of the garbage thrown on us and take the blame for a lot of stuff. And finally, we figured out a way that we can be assertive and confident and say, look, we know what we're doing. We know that something's going to come up, but we're going to deal with it. And having the rest of your team be confident in that ability, and not be overconfident to the degree of self-aggrandizing and being cocky. And, that's a hard thing to develop and learn, but that's definitely something that goes a long way when you're building that trust, building that relationship with other people.
Well, that's great. Again, we're going to end up this segment right now, but I want to get back to you and ask a little bit about how you have experience. You've had experience with other office solution providers
very true.
In your business, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about your.
Let's talk about it. Let's get our hands deep in toner. That's totally fine.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much, Jesse. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Perfect.